Scene from the movie Contact. Listen carefully to the words of the non-human being who pretends to be Jodie Foster's father in the film so as not to alarm her. It sounds like a scene from an NDE or a complete etheric abduction.
You're an interesting species. An interesting mix. You're capable of such beautiful dreams. And such horrible nightmares. You feel so lost. So cut off. So alone. Only you're not. See, in all our searching, the only thing we've found that makes the emptiness bearable is each other.
What happens now?
Now, you go home.
Home? But I have so many questions. Do we get to come back?
This was just the first step. In time, you'll take another.
But other people need to see what I've seen. They need to see...
This is the way it's been done for billions of years. Small moves, Ellie. Small moves.
Pay close attention to the words of the gardeners and guardians of this dimension that he expresses to her while she's in a holographic scenario that he confessed to her was happening straight from the beginning of their encounter on the fake beach. We are an interesting species, an interesting mix, capable of having such beautiful dreams and horrible nightmares. But who exactly triggers these two situations in this loose farm and factory of permanent energy production? Who's staging the daily scenarios that make us react in order to feed on it? Those who still believe in chance have no idea of the coding of our reality, and moreover are not even interested in it. They are the cardboard extras and backdrop characters who validate all the synchronicities of the so-called chance scripted around us since always. The other, that is others, is the only thing that makes life bearable, according to him. This translates to if you don't interact with other characters in the play dedicated to you, and if you don't join the egregores they've built for you, if you don't follow the trends, movements, and cubes of happiness and unhappiness of your seemingly gilded prison, player or non-player in this play, you're doomed. You'll commit suicide, or you'll be useless to the game itself, since you're no longer participating. You'll be unhappy, life will seem unbearable. Oh, really? Why not, if you still have your own free will? This scene from the film Contact at the end is very revealing. I will always remember the words of the late Gerry, with whom I corresponded for a long time before his death, and a former member of the fake SETI space observation project with large dishes in which he participated and which he had completely debunked on his website, openseti.org. This project, which captured CB radio signals in the surrounding area and falsely sold them as extraterrestrial signals, was a total diversion to divert attention far away in the totally artificial space that only exists in computer-generated images created by NASA clowns or on the ceiling of our terrestrial planetarium. The exogenous presence is much closer than in the distance in the setting pointed out by the writers of our illusion. Their presence pulls the strings of this farm through the agents who play the role of leaders, who make us believe that it is only a question of money and power. Basic bullshit that does not fit with the occult side of our macabre illusion, nor with the surreal parameters of the sums of money collected and already available for these masters of the world, supposedly purely materialistic. A strictly stupid concept for the naive or extras in this Truman Show to make us believe it and prevent us from looking any further. So Gerry Zeitlin's words about the film script written by Carl Sagan, the Freemason who promoted the fictitious image of the Earth as a blue marble seen from space, about the real character of Jill Tarter, the former director of the SETI Research Center, whose death have indeed read and heard about, but due to the Mandela effect, it is impossible today to confirm, played by Jodie Foster of Project City in the film Contact, still resonate with me about this film, about his former activity that triggered his awakening. That scene, he told me, at the end on that fake beach by holographic projection with the entity pretending to be her father to communicate with her, seems to me the one and only plausible and realistic scene in the film. I'll let you think about that. Gerry wrote an essay on his now deleted website entitled Soul Technology, in which he refers to an article by Paul Davis from 2003, E.T. and God. Could Earth-based religions survive the discovery of life elsewhere in the universe? Got it? God equals soul, E.T. equals technology. We should bother because there are myths that raise the issue, and Open SETI tries not to rank myths. Although they haven't made it into the scam society's common approved myth, there are, for example, the psychopomps, spirits, gods, demons, or angels whose function is to escort newly deceased souls to the afterlife. Please do check out that hyperlink, as you will be amazed to see how many mythologies had these. So Open SETI is now inquiring into the afterlife. Very bizarre, or is it? No less than Carl Sagan, 1997, suggested the same when his character Ailey Arroway, the leading SETI scientist pursuing a provocative signal, encountered her own deceased father. At first, the souls. In a sense, this needs no explanation. Souls are a feature of the religious part of the scam. They exist in one form or another in almost all mythologies, though not in our science myth. Invariant in all of the descriptions is the soul as a consciousness principle, separate from the body but inhabiting the body during life. In many belief systems, the soul can detach during the lifetime and travel. This occurs in our own culture and is called an out-of-body experience. Shamans can interact with souls while themselves traveling in their soul body. Since there are numerous instances of experience of souls, it is useful to consider them to be in some way real. Furthermore, if there is any reality whatsoever to the soul, it could well be very real in ET cultures. SETI ignores this crucial possibility. Secondly, the psychopomps. These are beings that exist in the same reality space as souls do and exert control over the souls. They also are encountered in our culture, often taking the form of gray aliens. When encountered physically, they have a way to control the behavior and experience of the human. They also have the ability to take the human out of body. In other words, to conduct the human somewhere as a soul. Third point, the technology. Artifacts are reported. Psychopomps in all cultures are said to carry wand-like devices which, when held against a subject's forehead, induce paralysis of the body and the separation of the soul from it. However, aside from the specific instance of the wand-like artifact, the general ability to separate, guide, and to reconnect souls to the previous body or connect them to different bodies is a technology possessed by psychopomps and whatever larger group they represent.
War in Heaven and the theocrats having introduced the major entities, souls, those who manipulate them, and the technology for doing so, we need to develop these concepts much further. War in Heaven, WIH, consists of a dialogue between Griffith and a disembodied spirit who claimed to be a member of a group calling itself the Invisible College. The format consists of questions and answers. Griffith states that the answers were received by automatic writing and read back to the contact entity for review and correction. So since this is channeling, I advise people to take all this information with great caution and discernment. Question. Griffith, can you advise me on what I should tell people to increase their chances of survival? The Invisible College. Anyone who feels in agreement with the information contained in this book should make a conscious effort to develop their psychic powers during their earthly life. These are basic survival skills that every human being must develop, and the rudiments are not that difficult to learn. Question. What can people do to avoid such deceptions? Answer. The only sure defense is to achieve a certain degree of psychic development. The theocrats are able to practice such tricks only if the psychic senses of the deceased person are being activated from outside by the theocrats' telepathic transmissions. If the person's soul is actively perceiving the astral environment with its own telepathic and clairvoyant powers, it can usually perceive the true nature of the spirits forming the greeting party. This is difficult to put into English, but so let's just say they look phony or have bad vibes. The closest we can come to an actual description is that some of the psychic control mechanisms that the theocrats use to enslave other spirits on the astral plane become perceptible to anyone whose psychically reads them actively instead of being communicated with while remaining passive. Question: this is one of the elements of the breakthrough information that will frighten certain readers, especially when they realize that many of their deceased relatives and friends may be slaves in the theocratic bands right now. Suppose such a person does meet his or her dead mother or some other loved one on the astral plane. Answer: the important rule is keep your distance. Don't let any other spirit touch you as long as you remain on the astral plane. Free spirits rarely communicate telepathically. This may refer to encounters shortly after death. They don't approach other spirits closely even when they assist them in reincarnating, but instead talk them through the process. Remember, talk but don't touch. These themes will be subject of further debates beyond this film.